So what is Personal Finance FYI? This is a brand new broadcast show designed to help you make smart financial decisions and to grow your wealth. So whether you just sold your business for $1 gazillion or you just got out of college and swallowed up in student loans, this program is for you. So are you ready to get started? Personal Finance FYI starts now. Hi, welcome back to Personal Finance FYI. I'm your host, James Daniel, and on today's broadcast, we are talking all things Roth. That is the Roth IRA, the Roth 401k. We'll talk about the who, what, when, where, why of this unique investing tool. But let's start first with a quick primer on the traditional IRA before we segue into the Roth. An IRA is an individual retirement arrangement. I know I said arrangement instead of an account. If you want to get technical, that is how the IRS refers to this vehicle. So what is an IRA? Simply put, it's an account, much like any other account you have, such as a checking account at the bank. The major differences are you open an IRA account with a custodian and make a contribution or contributions that grow without any tax bill until you withdraw the money, hopefully not until you're older than age 59 and a half. The reason this account has tax perks is because the IRS wants you to designate it as long-term savings. So this IRA, or what we'll call traditional IRA, may offer you a tax break on the money you put in, but it all depends on your household income. So to recap, the traditional IRA could help you lower taxes now, but when you begin withdrawing money in retirement, all of it will be taxed just like regular income. Does that make sense? Are you staying with me here? The exciting part's coming. The difference with the Roth IRA is that you put money in now, but don't get any special tax write-off for it. The magic part is when you withdraw the money plus all the growth at some point in the future, all of it is federally tax-free. Great, right? I'll take tax-free money any day of the week. Just one small hitch, and that is for having a Roth IRA in the first place, the federal government has a rule that says your household income has to be below a certain level or you can't even contribute to a Roth. As an FYI, your adjusted gross income is the bottom number on the first page of your tax return. That determines whether you can contribute to the Roth. Above my shoulder here, you will see the current income limits for 2014. There's also another catch with making either a traditional IRA contribution or a Roth IRA contribution. And that is, there's a limit on how much you can put in each year. This year, the amount is $5,500 per person. If you happen to be over the age of 50, you can toss in an extra $1,000 for what is called a catch-up. So what if you like the sound of the Roth so much that you want to contribute more, or maybe your income is too high and you feel left out? The answer for you is the Roth 401k option inside many employee retirement plans. If you aren't familiar with a 401k, we'll save that for another broadcast, but many plans let employees choose between the traditional pre-tax 401k and a new Roth 401k option that will let you contribute after-tax money into, which works tax-wise exactly like the Roth IRA. The best part is you can put in up to $17,500 versus $5,500 in the traditional Roth IRA, and you don't have any income restrictions. So who should think about contributing to a Roth IRA or Roth 401k? The best candidate would be someone that is in a lower tax bracket now that is expecting their income to rise through the years. The second best candidate would be everyone else. Seriously, most people could benefit from tax-free income in retirement, but if you are currently in the highest tax bracket, 39.6% tax rate, then more than likely your focus is on current tax deductions instead of the Roth. As always, this is just informational, and I do encourage you to check with your financial planner before acting on any of this. Additionally, if you want to follow along at home with the facts and figures that we are discussing today, simply visit my website at theadvisoryfirm.net and click on the box that says free financial facts right there in the middle and download a PDF copy of this handy little tax guide right here. Before I leave you, I'm sure there are a few of you out there thinking, James, you've covered the Roth IRA contributions, you've covered the Roth 401k contributions, but what about this Roth conversion thing I keep hearing about? Well, here you go. Remember that traditional IRA we first talked about? The one where you had pre-tax money in it, maybe it was from an IRA you'd contributed to over the years, or maybe it's rollover from an old 401k? Well, you can take that and turn it into a Roth IRA. And the best part is that anyone can do it, even you high income earners. But there are a few things to consider before you do this. Number one is any amount you convert is going to be taxed at ordinary income. So you need to have cash in the bank to pay the tax when it comes due. Number two is don't even think about taking money from the IRA itself to pay the tax, especially if you're less than 59 and a half, because you're going to owe a 10% penalty plus ordinary tax on any amount you pull out of that IRA. Number three is if you're within a few years of retirement or in a high tax bracket, you really need to run the numbers to see if this makes sense at all. And last but not least, if you have multiple IRAs out there, be very careful when converting just one. If it was a non-deductible IRA and you think you can do it without paying tax, you might get a nasty tax surprise from the IRS because they look at all your IRAs in aggregate to figure the basis on your Roth conversion. So that wasn't too painful, was it? You're now an expert on Roth IRAs and you can impress all of your friends at the next dinner party. So, as a quick recap, there are three things that I want you to take away from this. First, remember 5 as in 5 years, because that's how long you have to have a Roth IRA open so that it's qualified so that after age 59 and a half, all your withdrawals are tax-free. Also, number 2 is remember 5,500 as that's the max you can contribute to a Roth IRA or even a traditional IRA in 2014. And number 3 is finally remember that with a Roth 401k, anyone of any income level can contribute. But if you're in a super high tax bracket, you need to weigh the current tax savings versus tax-free growth to see if you come out ahead. I'd like to thank you again for joining me for the first episode of Personal Finance FYI. I'm your host, James Daniel, and I'll see you on the next broadcast.